Our trip started early in the morning loading up the van.
I want to get in the car.
I'm talking now.
Come get in the car.
I'm talking now.
Then we hit the road. There were 5 of us in the van, and we took a quick detour to the Lorraine Motel where Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King was assassinated. Then we went to visit one of Frank's friends, Mrs. Brenda Joy Smith, who is a wonderful artist who's been painting for decades. This was Isaac Hayes Peabody Entertainment Center. Then we arrived in Maryland. Our hosts had a rare Frank Frazier mural and many of his art pieces. The next day we arrived at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center to unload our artwork and displays. Most of our things were loaded into the building with a forklift. Then it was time to set up. We had several booths, and each of us were putting up our walls and hanging art. Right after, we had to run several blocks down the street with some of our art pieces because traffic was so bad. We had to be at the Arts Club of Washington for the Coalition for African Americans in the Performing Arts. They were having awards for those who were helping to provide scholarships for African Americans who wanted to learn classical arts. Frank Frazier was one of the awardees, and we got to see performances by people who benefited from the program. The next day, we were back at the convention center and ready to share our art with everyone. Frank was generous to go and support the other vendors before everything got started. This is artist Laura Lisa at her booth. This was a fashion show that was going on at the convention center. And we saw some steppers. And here is artist Lakeem Wilson explaining his art to one of the attendees. Frank always sees familiar faces. This woman's father helped Frank make art that's featured in Coming to America. This is artist Don O'Bannon. And this is Frank taking a victory lap after he's made a sale. Frank sold a piece to this gentleman and is explaining what is in the picture. This was a veteran that Frank knew. And this is artist Lakeem Wilson and some gentlemen from Texas who came to support him. We had a little fun on the side. And here is Frank live drawing a piece for a gentleman at the show. And here's a familiar face, Tom Joyner's son, who Frank has known pretty much all his life. Here is Don again, and Frank running into someone he worked with a long time ago, and many more who came to see him. We all got a treat to go visit artist Laura Lisa's cousin's restaurant in the area, and we treated ourselves to lineups from this Atlanta barber. And honestly, as we were loading up, Secret Services had everyone leave the exhibit hall so they could prepare for a special event. So we went back to see our hosts and relax for a bit until the next day when we set up for the Anacostia Gallery in DC so we could share our art with another crowd of people. We were set up outside and we got treated with a couple of poetry presentations. And this event concluded our DC tour.